Hey guys, welcome to Late Night with Kay White. I'm your host Krista, and tonight we have a very special episode because our President Johnson has just announced a few days ago that he will not run for another term as president. So we have him on the show tonight to talk about his presidency and why he decided not to run for president. Mr. President, welcome to the show once again.
It's nice being here again.
So, I know everyone at home has on their minds why you decided not to run for president. I know that Vietnam has been really hard for you, along with other things. It's not just Vietnam. So why don't you tell us why you might have not decided to run for president anymore?
Throughout my entire public career, I have followed the personal philosophy that I am a free man and American, a public servant, and a member of my party. In that order, always and only. For 37 years in the service of our nation, first as a congressman, as a senator, and as vice president, and now as your president.
And I feel at this time that it would be in the best interest of our nation to focus on the country and not a re-election campaign.
Well, we certainly thank you for clearing that up for us. So, there's been some talk about the Johnson treatment. Why don't you tell us maybe what that is?
You know, this Johnson treatment, I've heard about it, and I don't think anyone would be intimidated of my 6'2" stature. Why would they? I mean 6'4". I'm 2 inches taller than that, and I don't intimidate you now, do I?
No.
I thought not. Anyway, let's move on to another topic.
Okay, what about the Gulf of Tonkin? Do you think that would be, because we know you didn't ask for Congress's permission, which has never been done before by a president. Usually they get a vote on Congress. So why did you decide to, per se, go behind the country's back with this?
Well, the Gulf of Tonkin allowed me to do what was necessary in Vietnam. I mean, it allowed me some freedoms in pursuing the conflict in Vietnam, and though Vietnam hasn't turned out very well, as you know, I've just stopped the bombings in Vietnam. It was necessary at the time.
Okay. Now, what about your Great Society plan? What exactly is in that?
Well, as you guys know, the Great Society is I think it's going to be one of the great movements of our nation. It established Medicare, Medicaid, the Public Broadcasting Association, transportation for the public, consumer protection, and environmental protection. Also, it helped with education. We're funding elementary schools, secondary schools. We're providing grants and loans at low cost for university students. I just think that our country as a whole will become better. I mean, our poverty level was reduced by 50% during my term.
And I think that's been great. I think you've done a very nice job with your Great Society plan. You know, a lot's been done for our nation. So let's move on. How about the Civil Rights Act? I know that Kennedy started it.
Yes.
And upon his death, he was not able to finish it. So what did you do with that?
Well, I'm a great believer in equality, and I just thought that it was necessary that this bill passed. How can we be a free nation if we don't allow things like this to transpire? I mean, it established desegregation, and I know right now the laws are not too strong, but hopefully in due time everything will go into effect and everyone will be treated equal. That's what we want.
Well, let's hope for the best on our civil rights. So, speaking of civil rights and equality, how about the 24th Amendment?
Well, The 24th Amendment establishes that there will not be any taxes on federal polls, which means that they cannot establish a tax on any votes for the Senate, the Congress, or the presidency. And as you very well know, this has been an issue in southern states, establishing taxes that made it unaffordable for people to vote. And I think with this, the people will have more of a choice.
Well, let's hope that they do. Well, we've already talked about the Gulf of Tonkin. So what about Vietnam? I know that it's been a very long road. How do you see that ending for our nation?
Vietnam has been a very tragic situation. And I believed in containment. I still believe in containment. I do not want communism to spread. And that is why we are in this situation. The results of our forces there may have not worked the best, but hopefully it will help this world remain and gain new democracies.
Well, one more thing that you've done recently for our nation, Medicare and Medicaid. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, this, Carissa, establishes a way of help for the elderly and those that cannot afford it. And we cannot have sick grandparents, people that have worked all their lives, not having the ability to gain the medical treatment they need or to live in proper facilities for those who are aging. So that's all I wanted to establish with this piece of legislation, and I hope for years to come it continues to help the elderly and the impoverished. I mean, what our society cannot go on just forgetting about its elders. They're the people who help build the nation.
Right. Well, it's been great talking to you again, and we all here at the show wish you luck in your future endeavors, and we'll see what our nation has in store for us. So thank you for your time tonight, Mr. President.
Goodbye, Carissa, and I hope that I'm never again on this show for a presidential campaign, which we know I won't because I'm not running again.
Well, guys, once again, that's all the time we have for tonight. We hope you've enjoyed our very special presentation, and I'll see you next week.